Hello, friends. This is Akulmach Live, and I am Chandrakant. India has created a buzz in the global pharmaceutical arena by announcing a free dose for every citizen. And when I say free dose, it's the vaccination for COVID-19. And this was announced by the central government of India, which is headed by Prime Minister Modi. And it's a very big deal. I think this requires a detailed discussion. We are actually going to discuss this very point today in our show, and we have a very special guest joining from UK. So friends, stick around to this show because there is a giveaway. We will tell you in the end how you can claim your free gift. Welcome back, friends. And recently the Indian government has announced that there'll be a huge plan for vaccination of its citizen, and we will discuss this particular point today. And to discuss this further, let me invite my friend from UK, Mr. Neville.
Good morning, CK. Good morning, everybody. Free vaccinations for everybody. About time too, one might say, because until we're all vaccinated, no one's vaccinated. So what's made the government move down this particular route, CK? What do you think? What's the motivation?
Well, Neville, I know for sure that you don't like politics, but I think the politics is behind it. And so let me briefly cover it. It's basically India as a country is divided between 28 states and about 8 to 9 union territories. Union territories are directly ruled by the central government. So central government do not interfere in day-to-day activities of the states, and the central government has portfolio like finance, foreign affairs, etc., which are for better governance. But the local issues are always governed by the state governments, which are also elected by the people of that state. So what happened was that there was a blame game going on because people don't want to work, they don't want to take care of the citizens in certain states, and they were saying, hey, central government is not providing enough vaccination. So I think this was going on for a couple of months, and there were Twitter and social media campaigns running and defaming India and Indian government, and more so Mr. Modi. So one fine day he called all the chief ministers in a meeting last week, and he said, I'm going to give free vaccination from central government to every citizen of India. This is the background, Neville.
Well, I mean, like a lot of things these days, they are socially motivated, which means they're politically motivated. And you're right, I don't like politics, but unfortunately we can't get away with it. I mean, the good news is from this perspective is that decision's now been made at the very top, which is great, because now all you've got to do is do it.
Yes, Neville. In fact, now the state government and opposition government cannot blame that they don't have enough vaccination. In fact, there are certain state governments who have wasted millions of vials of these vaccinations because they said, we don't want this one, we want the other one, we are waiting for the other one, this one is not good, and so on and so forth. So I think there was a lot of debate which happened for past 2 months. A lot of bad campaigns ran through social media. So I think now with this move, Mr. Modi and his central government has actually stopped all of that. In fact, for last 1 week there has been no bad publicity happening because now everybody has to shut up and take care of their citizens. So this is where it is.
Well, it's an interesting state of affairs because I was being a little sarcastic, as you probably might have gathered, when I said all you have to do now is just do it, which is my favourite phrase of all time, because doing it now is going to have some logistical issues. We're going to have some supply chain issues. We're going to have people that really don't want the vaccine. They're not convinced that they're probably anti-vaccine anyway, really. They probably never had a vaccine in their life. And now all of those issues will start to come to the fore. We've seen a lot of that in the UK. We've had a bit of a backlash with particular parts of society that really are anti-vaccine. They don't trust them. They don't believe in them. But frankly, I'm not too sure we're going to get away from the COVID pandemic without people being vaccinated. And equally, we're also seeing large organizations around the world offering amazing perk type packages to get people back into the office. You know, we've had, quite a few months away from the office now. A lot of people have been working from home, and they like working from home. They don't have to travel to the office. They don't have to struggle in the commuter times. They can deal with their children more effectively. They're probably more productive at home because they realize that if they're more productive at home, there's less reason to go back into the office. So we're seeing all these things. This is just human behavior now. And we're seeing all of these things happening. But I think it's going to be very, very interesting once this rollout starts to get going, just how the Indian economy fares. Do people actually get back into the workplace? Not necessarily as it was pre-COVID. I'm not too sure we will ever go back to pre-COVID times in the way we were. But every time I think of my friends in India, I think about where they struggle to get on trains, and people jump on the top of trains, and it's almost like third class, second class, and first class travel. And the fact is, everyone's just got a ticket. So I'm not too sure we're going to get back to those days, but you never know. But let's look at the types of vaccines that you've got, because they're now, a year ago, when Pfizer came out with the first vaccine, everyone was out there, hallelujah, this is the savior. And then all of a sudden, AstraZeneca followed it in quite rapid. Once it was approved, of course, because it was already in the pipeline, but it's this approval process that's going through. But you've got a number of vaccines in India, some of which have got some interesting names, I think. So let's have a look at those vaccines that are available.
Well, I think Naval, announcement is one thing, but execution of this whole project is another. And even if the entire world industry get together, it will be a Herculean task to vaccinate a billion people. So I'll actually share some slides with you, so the highlight of this program is that the entire population of India needs to be vaccinated as quickly as possible, and while doing so, it has to be free for every citizen, so there'll be no charge, and government is going to pay the manufacturers everything from their own pocket, basically exchequer's money. But they don't have to pay anything for the vaccination. And in terms of the scale, if you can imagine, there are basically three primary groups of people. One group is 18 years to 45 years of age group. Other one is 46 plus age group. And there is a third group which is 18 and below. So the 18 and below age group is excluded at this point in time. So I'm just doing a little math here. If 18 and below population is about 300 million in India, that means the first two groups comprise of almost 1 billion people with plus minus variance of accuracy. And since each vaccination required 2 doses, that means we need 2 billion doses to be provided to run this program effectively. So it's huge. I don't think even if all the manufacturers across the world, excluding China, get together, they can produce this kind of medicines and also make it available because of supply chain. So let's look at the vaccines which are approved and available right now, and these are Covaxin, Covishield. These are the most popular ones. Covaxin is the Indian Bharat Serum Institute manufactured, completely Indian. Covishield is AstraZeneca. It's under license to the same company as Bharat Serum Institute. Then we have Moderna, we have Pfizer and Sputnik. And what is coming up are additional new type of vaccinations which are being produced, and I think by June or end or July beginning, all these will be also available. So first one is BioE sub vaccine. Then I've created this in red color because I want to talk a little bit about this. It's an Indian company based in the west province of India called Gujarat, and this company is called Zydus Cadila. They are working on the most effective medicine, and it is based on the DNA analysis. So it requires genetic studies, and this is also going to be out by June or July for the first vaccination. Then S2 Novavax, I don't know much about it. And the fourth one is also very, very interesting. It is called nasal vaccine, again from the Bharat Serum Institute. What is so special in nasal vaccine is like it will have, you just have to apply 2 drops in both of the nostrils, and then you are vaccinated, so you don't have to do any injection. And based on my reading on their company website, what I found is that none of the vaccines actually protect your upper lung and your throat trachea area. All the vaccines are protecting your lower lung from coronavirus, and the nasal vaccine will be basically protecting your upper lung as well as your throat and the trachea. So this is going to cover the entire body from coronavirus to enter your body and infecting you. Even your throat infection, even causing flu in your throat, will not happen if you have the nasal vaccine. So that is under development. And interestingly, UK is actually collaborating with India to develop this one. This was part of the billion pound contract which India and UK signed few months back. And the last one is Geneva mRNA vaccine, which is going to be also available. So I think there's huge work ahead of us, and all of this, what I heard yesterday, Neville, is that 30% of the upfront payment has been made already by Indian government. So the first tranche of the payment has been made already.
Wow, that's it's amazing. And when we're talking about 2 billion doses, let's just go back to one of your first slides. 2 billion doses. We're not just talking about the cost of those doses. We're actually talking about the cost of implementing those doses. So it's the transportation costs, which is quite significant. It's the storage costs. Then it's utilizing healthcare so that they can actually people can be vaccinated. Equally, it's all of the syringes and the needles and the little plasters they put on the backside, on the side of your arm afterwards. So when you look at the whole thing in the scheme of things, you're probably looking at somewhere in the region of $15, maybe $20 per dose, I would think, or maybe that's the total cost. But even so, $20 for the total cost times 2 billion. You don't have to do the sums there. Just put a naught and double 2. You know, $40 billion. I mean, it doesn't bear thinking about, really. I mean, I come from the oil and gas industry, so 40 billion is just 40.0. As far as I'm concerned, because that's how we used to look at the numbers. But even for a huge government and a huge country like Pakistan, like India, beg your pardon, it's a massive investment, and that's where we need to be very, very recognize that this is not to be taken lightly. And I think it's everyone's, I mean, we're talking about people on the TV here saying it's everyone's duty to take the vaccine. Well, maybe it is, you know. unless you've got something that is really preventing you, I think people need to be really considering whether they should be taking this vaccine, if they're at all reticent to taking vaccines. Because the bottom line here is, until we're all vaccinated, no one's vaccinated. Nobody's safe. And we're already here in the UK in particular, we're already talking about boosters. Just like every year I get the flu vaccine, this is now just going to be added to that booster type regime. We've got to remember as well that this is a particularly nasty virus. And as you said, CK, what our scientists are recognizing is that it affects parts of the body in a different way. And I'm really excited, actually, about the nasal vaccine. I don't know if you recall, but 7 or 8 months ago, we heard about some tests that were being done with just simple nasal sprays in Canada. And they were getting huge results just by regularly having just an off-the-counter nasal spray. So we need to be letting the science take its own journey, believing in our scientists. I mean, it's fantastic that India and the UK are going down this nasal route, because I don't think anyone else is looking at the upper arena. And of course, there's nothing worse than a cough that turns into a headache. And typically, when people were originally getting coughs, they weren't sure whether it was COVID or not. So if we can take that problem away, the purpose of science is to take away problems, not to find more. And if we can take that problem away, it's just going to make life that much easier for people. We need to be making life easy for people to do, having clean air, not worrying about all of these biocides that are out there, all of this plastic pollution that we're generating, et cetera, et cetera. So we just need to be making things easier for people where we can. And I have to applaud the Indian government for effectively being the first in the world to do this at this scale, And as you probably know, there are trials being undertaken for the 12 to 18-year-olds. Because they're super carriers. It's not surprising, really, because, they don't socially distance at that age. They play lots of team sports. They're in the same dressing rooms. Can you remember the days where, as a child, everyone caught a verruca? Do you remember those days? When you went to a swimming pool and you came back and you had a verruca because someone had a verruca and it was passed on very quickly.
Well, to be very frank with you, if if I remember my swimming days, which was as back as 12 months back, when I started swimming in the pool, when you go to swim in the ocean and the river, there is no issue. But if you go to a pool, then you will always come back with a flu. And even though the general directive was to get the hepatitis, because that is the fastest spreading disease if you're going to a pool. So I think, but then one of the doctor actually told me that you don't stop going to the pool, and that is how your immunity will develop. So I continued even after getting the flu. I was down for 3 days, and I used to pick my body up and go to the pool again. And after a couple of months, I got resistant to all this different flu public viruses which were coming through the pool. So I think the public pool makes you very strong. I think that's my opinion.
Yeah, you could well be right. But I remember as a child, bazooka the verruca, we used to call it. And there was even a medicine called bazooka. And equally, chicken pox. When one child got chicken pox, all the children got chicken pox. My parents would go out their way and make me play with kids that got chicken pox. And I think this is just part of society that perhaps we've been missing for many years because we've been a bit too insular. So the last 18 months, people have been now thinking about, why are they here? What are they doing? What's their purpose in life, etc., etc. So I'm hoping that this move by India is a very positive move. It's going to actually happen without other politicians getting in the way by saying we want this vaccine rather than that vaccine. Let's just get it all done and move into the new regime, whatever that new regime is, because it's not just the economy that needs to recover. People need to recover. People need to feel more safe, I think, is the way. You know, even if we do have to wear masks in public places or inside restaurants and what have you, to me, that's fine. You know, that's just a recognition that this thing is nasty and it's still a killer, and we need to do our utmost to keep it away. This is like an alien virus, you know. Doesn't matter whether it was actually physically created or you know, in a animal form or whatever it is on the earth. It's an alien virus. We don't like it, and our system will buck the trend and go against it. So let's let science take its course, support all the healthcare arena, and do our duty. I mean, that's really fundamentally what I think the message needs to be today. There's nothing stopping us.
Absolutely, Neville. On June 21st, this drive will start in India, and the central government of India will actually provide all the vaccinations to the state government, which will be responsible for vaccinating the people. And you mentioned about plastics, syringes, and all that. That will be the responsibility of the state government. So now, hopefully, the debate will end and people will get their vaccination which they have been waiting for. When I went for my second dose, I found it very smooth process. You go to the app, register your slot, go there on time, then it works like a clockwork. You know, you go, stand in the queue, show your PIN number, they register it, and then within 15 minutes you get vaccinated. Then you wait for 20 minutes or 30 minutes to see any side effects, and after that you just walk out. So it was just a very smooth process. It took about 45 minutes to get my second jab a few days back, and as soon as I was vaccinated, I got the certificate immediately. So it's all fully automated. There is no human intervention, there is no payment to be made. As it is, there was no payment at all, and because you're paying through the app, which is the central government. So I think it's a very smooth process, and once the state government is also getting it for free from central government, I think the whole process of blame, I think the state government now have to, all state government, 28 plus 9 union territories will have to get their act together and provide vaccination centers in plenty of numbers to cover the population of India. So Neville, I think we had a very good discussion today. Thank you so much for finding time and sharing your thoughts on this global news that India created a few days back. We will catch up again tomorrow, Neville, on something more interesting.
Thank you, CK. Have a great day, everybody, and get vaccinated. It's free.
We have some unique Akulmach memorabilia which will make you look outstanding. The graphics on these corporate gifts are based on the global best business practices. To become recipient of one of these gifts for free, you have to watch this video till the end and provide your valuable comments, or you can also share your experiences. The person who makes the best comment would be chosen to become a recipient of these beautiful Akulmach gift, absolutely free, delivered to your doorsteps. The winner would also get a chance to be invited live as a distinguished panelist during our next video. What are you waiting for, friends? Please subscribe Akulmach and smash that like button.